Okay, my name is Jack Hardin, U.S. Army, and I was in the 173rd Airborne Brigade in Vietnam. I went to basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington, and then on to what they call advanced infantry training at Fort Gordon, Georgia, and then airborne jump school in Fort Benning, Georgia, and then off to Vietnam, 1968, 1969. I was deployed in what they call 2 Corps in the central part of South Vietnam. Goes from the South China Sea all the way to the Central Highlands to the border of Cambodia and Laos. I joined the military. I had a student deferment. I was going to Humboldt State to get a degree in forestry, but for various reasons I decided to leave Humboldt State and go back to Sacramento where my parents were living. But in that transition I lost my student deferment. And I just then decided, I think I'll just volunteer for the draft and get it over. I grew up in the military. My dad was in the Marine Corps for 20 years. So I was used to discipline, so I decided, okay, I'll just go ahead and do this. We were on patrol and we came across a sort of a training facility for the Viet Cong. And you could not see it from the air because there was a triple canopy. So helicopters or any airplanes could not see this, but we ran across it, and there were makeshift weapons, some training weapons made out of just wood. There was a printing press for diplomas, and a variety of other equipment that was training the Viet Cong. So there was that. Another instance was when we were on patrol, my lieutenant said, I think there's something in this rock formation possibly. Intelligence is telling us this. So I need a volunteer to go in and be a tunnel rat. So I volunteered, went into the tunnel, came out, and there was a large hospital inside. It was abandoned, but you could still smell all the chemicals that were used to treat the patients, and it was quite an eye-opener. And then that night, we had to sort of stay outside and just make sure the Viet Cong didn't come back, but it was so dark, and there was no moon. It was so dark, I think at one point I thought I could feel the Viet Cong coming right next to me because I couldn't see a thing. It really wasn't bad. I was stationed at Fort Ord in Monterey, got out in January of 1970, but I had met my wife, my soon-to-be wife, while I was at Fort Ord. So the transition was to get out and get my degree in geology from San Jose State and get married. So it was, fortunately for me, it wasn't a bad transition at all. That you have to serve your country when needed, and you have to learn that there's a reason for the discipline, and you have to have the right attitude. And the reason for the discipline is that when you have to do an assignment, it's not just for you, but it's for the entire group you're with. And so you need to think about that and make sure that you understand that your comrades' lives are more important than yours. Yeah, I'd like to just state a wartime prayer that was penned by Eleanor Roosevelt at the height of World War II, 1943, 1944. And it goes, "Dear Lord, lest I continue my complacent way, help me to remember somehow out there a man died for me today. As long as there be war, I then must ask and answer, am I worth dying for?"